What is going on, everybody? How we doing? Welcome back to the Georgia MF Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about. It is Friday, a very cold day here in Georgia. Very cold, y'all. I'm talking. It is freezing outside. But it's a beautiful day. Sun's out at least. Everything's going well. Guys, we got a lot to talk about. The freaking Dodgers, bro. The freaking Dodgers, man. You got to be kidding me. Giants made a good head coach signing. We'll also be discussing that. We'll talk about the Angels and Rays and Reds trade. We'll also be discussing Mike Tomlin stepped down and Nolan Arenado going to the Diamondbacks. We'll be discussing other topics as well. But like I say every time, hope everyone's doing well, staying positive, staying humble, and staying blessed. Also, before we start, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. We're I think 300 or maybe 400 away from 1,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, and like I say every time, feel free to comment down below your thoughts and opinions on all the topics that we discuss. All right, let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Our positive vibes segment for today, if you guys don't know, this is where I go over and read you guys a positive quote, turn that frown upside down, basically. Here's the quote for today. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. That is from the great Martin Luther King Jr., you guys. So if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. But always keep trying. Always keep moving forward. Put your best foot forward at all times, no matter what. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to just put it like this. When I saw this, I literally just said this. I was like, God damn, bro, the freaking Dodgers. Jesus Christ. Damn. That was literally my reaction. I was literally getting food and I got a notification on my watch. And it was like breaking Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. I was like, what the hell, bro? It's every time. I'm like, what the hell, dude? This team just doesn't stop. I'm like, fuck. So let's talk about it, you guys. Kyle Tucker, it was reported yesterday late. I think it was like 10 o'clock, maybe late. Has signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers, you guys. They had came to an agreement of 4 years, $240 million. So, god damn, bro, this is crazy. As you guys know, my team, the Mets, were obviously interested in him. They had offered him 4 years, $220 million. But he chose to go to the Dodgers. Got more money, obviously, as an average annual value, but damn, bro. So here's the contract details. Let's just discuss this, you guys. So it's a 4-year, $240 million contract with an average annual value of $60 million, which now makes him the second highest in MLB history, trailing only his teammate Shohei Ohtani. But it is including $30 million in defers. The net present value is approximately $57.1 million per year. Player options, Tucker has opt-outs after the second and third year, 2027 2028 year, allowing him to return to free agency at 31 and 32. Also with a signing bonus of $64 million, you guys. So why is he a Dodger now? Why did the Dodgers go out and sign him? Tucker became a free agent after 1 year with the Cubs, who had acquired him via trade from the Astros. While the Mets and the Blue Jays made an aggressive push, the Mets had reportedly offered him, like I said earlier, 4 years, $220 million. Tucker immediately chose Los Angeles. Where he fits in the lineup, Tucker addresses the Dodgers' primary need for a consistent elite corner outfield, which is something they needed. His arrival creates what are many calling the fearsome lineup in baseball history. Shohei Ohtani at leadoff, Betts at second, Freeman third, Kyle Tucker fourth, Teoscar fifth, Will Smith sixth. So with Tucker in right, the Dodgers are expected to move Teoscar back to left field, providing a veteran stability across the entire grass. So obviously, that was one of the things that the Dodgers needed to work on this offseason, was obviously one of them getting a bullpen arm, getting an elite closer, which they went out and did. And then they also needed to address that corner outfield. Obviously, we know Teoscar Hernandez is not a good outfielder. Now, let's keep it real. This past season, Kyle Tucker was not a good outfielder. He was below average outfielder. So he'll probably play well. But they addressed it. They needed somebody who's going to be elite. This guy's going to help them out. This guy since 2020 has had a WAR above 4. So it's like, damn, but you got to respect it. You guys, they spend money and they go out and try to they want to win. They want to three-peat. They want to win. That's something that you got to respect. You can't hate on a team that wants to win, that wants to be consistent, and wants to be, at that top level. That's something why I won't come up here and be like, fuck the Dodgers or part of my lanes, this, because they want to win. It's something that you got to respect. Now, obviously, the impact on the 2026 season is by signing both Tucker and Edwin Diaz this winter. Dodgers luxury tax payroll is projected to exceed $395 million. They are clearly, all in still. The projected lineup currently, like I said earlier, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Tucker, Will Smith, Teoscar, Max Muncy, Tommy Edman, and then Ha-Seong Kim. So with the luxury tax, obviously, they have entered into a spending tier that has effectively broken the luxury tax system because they're repeat offenders. So every dollar they spend on Tucker is taxed at 110%. So essentially, the deal is 57.1 million per year. The tax adds essentially another 62.8 million in his price tag. So it's Dodgers are paying a good amount of money, you guys. That's all I'm gonna say. This team, we'll see what happens next offseason with the agreements and all that. See what they come out to decide with, but I respect it. I know there's gonna be a lot of people coming out like, damn, bro, these freaking Dodgers, man, they always want to do this and do that. But it's something that you got to respect, man, because it's like they want to win and they're aggressive and they show it every year. And that's something that's intriguing players to go over there. Because think about it, they just won the World Series last year. They won the year prior. So that's intriguing them because every player, especially an elite player like Tucker, they want to win. They want to have a championship under their wings. So it's like, even though I think he has one, but they want to keep winning, and the Dodgers are showing it. Obviously, key takeaways though is that so currently this is how the rotation looks. You got Ohtani at number 1, Yoshi Yamamoto 2, Roku Sasaki 3, Tyler Glasnow 4, Blake Snell 5, and then number 6 is Emet Shehan. Yeah, he's returning from Tommy John to round to bat, so he'll probably be like the 6th man up. I want to say Tyler Glasnow could probably be somebody they trade just to maybe shed some money. Maybe that he becomes one of those. Maybe Teoscar. I could see that. Maybe not right now, but eventually there'll be one of those where they trade him. Listen, overall, I will say this: great trade or great signing for the Dodgers. You go and fill up needs that you needed already, which was bullpen and an elite cornerstone. So you got that. You got him for 4 years. With the Mets, it's going to be interesting because it's crazy to me. But a couple days ago, David Stearns was talking to the media, and he literally said to the camera that he believes this is a 90-win team. Are you shitting me? This team right now is worse than the one that didn't even make the playoffs. How are they a 90-win team? You don't have a center fielder. Your bullpen is very questionable. Your rotation is extremely questionable. What? You got no protection behind your star player Juan Soto right now. What are we talking about here? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. You got rid of Pete Alonso. You got rid of Edwin Diaz. You got rid of Brandon Nimmo. You got rid of Jeff McNeil. What are we talking about here? How is this team better as a 90-win team if it's worse than the one that didn't even make the playoffs? Like that doesn't add up to me, and it's just it's something that it's appreciative that they went and tried to be aggressive for them, but it's like there's a lot of work to do. We got to see what's gonna happen with that rotation. We need a center fielder, and this dude Soto needs a protection behind him because Lindor's not gonna cut it. Jorge Polanco's not gonna cut it. Brett Beatty or Mark Vientos isn't either. So I really wonder what is their plan. You know, maybe they pivot to Cody Bellinger, um, who wants 7 years. You know, maybe you could give him a higher AAV and get him for 5. But I wonder what we're gonna do, because this is crazy that you look to the camera and say this is a 90-win team. No, it's not. No, sir, it is not a 90-win team. Not even close. All right, let's continue on, you guys. So a couple days ago, on January 13, the Diamondbacks had traded for a former star player, Nolan Arenado, you guys, the 10-time Gold Glover. So essentially, they traded the Diamondbacks received Nolan Arenado and $31 million in cash, while the Cardinals receive the right-handed pitcher Jack Martinez. Was Arizona's 8th round pick in 2025, you guys. So financial details, just to break it down a little bit, Arenado is owed $42 million over the next 2 seasons, 27 in 2026 and 15 in 2027, because so essentially Arizona's only responsible for $11 million. So essentially, they are getting Nolan Arenado for a steal, because the Cardinals are paying everything off. So why this move happened? Arizona needed a hot corner after trading Eugenio Suarez to the Mariners last year. The Diamondbacks had a hole at third base. They were reportedly targeting Alex Bregman, but pivot to Arenado as much more as a budget-friendly veteran option. Geographic fit: Arenado is a Southern California native, as his home is in Arizona. He waived his no-trade clause, is specific because he wanted to be back in the NL West closer to home. The bounce back hope: while Arenado's coming back of, obviously a career low of offensive year, hitting a 237 average with 12 home runs in 2025, his defense remains elite. Arizona's GM Mike believes a change in scenario return to the desert will help his bat recover. So his impact on the roster, with Arenado taking over third base, young players like Blaze Alexander and top prospect Jordan are expected to compete for utility roles or potential to see in time in the outfield to keep their bats in the lineup. The Arenado trade is seen as a massive salary dump by the Cardinals and a low-risk, high-reward move from Arizona. Here's the projected lineup currently, for opening day for Arizona. So Geraldo batting leadoff, Ketel Marte second, Corbin third, Gabriel fourth, Pavin Smith fifth, Nolan Arenado sixth, Adrian seventh, Blaze Alexander eighth, and then Alex Thomas ninth. So listen, I like it. I like the trade for the Diamondbacks. I think. Listen, I get it. He didn't have a good year on himself. He was a bit down offensively. But hey, like the GM says, with the change of scenery, I think that's good. Now, obviously, he's getting a bit older, you guys. He's 34 years old currently. I believe he'll be 35 this year. In April 16, he'll be 35. Like I said earlier, he had a 237 batting average with 12 home runs, 52 RBIs, on-base percentage of 289 with an OPS plus of 87, so way below batting average. But I think you get him for $11 million. That doesn't hurt. The Cardinals are paying off the rest. This is a 10-time Gold Glove, 6-time Platinum Gold Glove winner, 8-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger, you guys. This dude is elite. I also know the Padres were planning on trading for him and using him at first. That would have been crazy with him and Manny there. Now, his projected stats for this upcoming season is 15 home runs, 59 RBIs, with a batting average of 253, on-base percentage of 306, slugging 403, with an OPS of 709. So they're projected for his stats to be a little bit better. Listen, he's getting older. We all know he's going to decline little by little. I think he just, with the lineup he's going to be in a different environment. Obviously, the Diamondbacks are in a different mindset than what, let's say, the Cardinals are. The Diamondbacks, obviously, they want to win. So the vision is going to be a little bit different. So I think it's a good trade overall for the Diamondbacks. I would have made it if I know I could get an elite player like Nolan Arenado. Even if his offense is down, for $11 million, I think that's a steal. Now, what the Diamondbacks gave back, Jack Martinez, a 22-year-old right-hander. Here's the scouting report. So the physicals, he's a large frame pitcher. He's 6'4", weighing 215. Scouts believe he has a high ceiling because he still has room to add muscle and velocity as he matures. The stats, his raw numbers in college don't look great right now. He's 6-4 with a 5.47 ERA in 2025. However, teams look at this as an underlining metric like his strikeout rate. The elite skill. Martinez is a high strikeout specialist. He posted a massive 12.8 K, point 9 strikeouts per 9 innings at ASU, totaling 110 strikeouts in just 77 innings, you guys. So this dude looks like he's going to strike out folks a lot and be kicking ass from what I see. I think he gives up the long ball, though, because the risk is while he has misses bats, he also gives up a lot of hits and struggled with control. He had a 3.8 walks per 9. Before the trade, he was not ranked in the Diamondbacks' top 30 prospects. So why the Cardinals took him, they're looking to obviously rebuild, you guys. They're not in a win now mode. They're currently just trying to build the rotation up for the next 3-4 years. As we saw, little by little, they've gotten rid of players, and they're looking to just rebuild and get better. Overall, I like I said, I think this was a good trade for the Diamondbacks. You know, I think Nolan Arenado will have not a crazy season, but I think he'll improve and get better. I think he'll focus back on his hitting, what he has to improve, what he has to get better on, and he'll do well. Now, shifting on a little bit, we got Ranger Suarez, you guys, has signed a deal with the Red Sox. So the Red Sox couldn't land Alex Bregman. They went out and got somebody quickly. So it was reported on the 14th of January that Dodgers have signed Ranger Suarez to a 5-year, $130 million contract, you guys. So essentially, the contract detail is 5 years, $130 million, with an average annual value of $26 million. He has key clause. The deal includes a mutual option for the 2020-2031 season, but notably contains no opt-outs and no deferrals. A departure from the complex. So basically, essentially, draft penalty. Because he rejected the qualifying offer from the Phillies, the Red Sox will forfeit their second and fifth highest draft pick in 2026, as well as $1 million in international bonus pool money. So they got him essentially for 5 years, $130 million flat. There will be no deferrals, no hiccups, or none of that like Kyle Tucker's deal. No, it's that 5 years flat. That's what it's gonna be. Listen. This is good for like a guy like Farmer Valdez because this sets up the market for him a little bit, you know, where he's also a lefty. And, you know, this guy getting 130, he's obviously going to want more than that. So Ranger Suarez, I think, is a good addition to the Rangers. This past season, he had a 3.20 ERA with 151 strikeouts, a whip of 1.2, and 157 innings pitched. He had a combined WAR of 4.7, so he did well for the Phillies. He's projected to have a 3.62 ERA with 146 strikeouts and 45 walks. The year prior to that, in 2024, he had a 3.46 ERA with, I believe it was 145 strikeouts, 41 walks, and a whip of 1.2. So his numbers are very consistent. When you're looking at it, it's very consistent, very around the same. Obviously, you know, the new three-headed monster, by adding Suarez, the Red Sox now bolster the rotation. He is now joining a rotation where it has Garrett Crochet, Sonny Gray, Brian Bayu, and then Johan Oviedo. So that's going to be a pretty good rotation there. Why the Red Sox pulled the trigger, like I said, he's coming off a career best 2025 season with a 3.20 ERA, career high, 151 strikeouts. The front office prioritized him for 3 reasons. Left-handed balance, pairing Suarez and Crochet gives 2 elite southpaws. Postseason pedigree, with the Red Sox aiming for a deep run in 2026. Suarez's history of performing under pressure in October was a major selling point. And durability and command. He ranked the 95th percentile in exit velocity allowed last year, fitting the Red Sox new organization philosophy of prioritizing soft contact and efficiency. What's still missing though, because they have things to do. So, despite spending that money on pitching, the Red Sox still have the Bregman-sized hole in the lineup. There's insider suggestions that maybe they turn their heads to either the trade market, maybe getting Nico Horner from the Cubs, or signing Bo Bichette to bolster up the middle of the order. Why is the rotation scary though? The depth is actually the most impressive part. If anyone in the top 5 gets a hangnail, the Red Sox have the second full rotation of MLB calibers waiting in the AAA. Tanner Ohak, Cutter Crawford, and lefty prospects like Cornell Early and Peyton Tolley. So they have a lot of prospects, you guys. Red Sox, pitching wise, are in a good position. They got, like I said, they got a lot of prospects down there. So if anybody has a little bit of a thing, they can, call them up, help them out. So some things they still need to have to get done though is like I said, they need to fill in that Bregman hole in the infield. Maybe they go out, get a Bo Bichette or trade for Nico Horner. Maybe they go and get Isaac Padres option if the Cubs/Mariners market opens for him. They need to solve the outfield surplus, so they need to figure what's going on with that if they're going to trade Jarren Duran. Also, they need to add a left-handed bullpen depth, so they need to go out and get somebody who can help them out in the bullpen lefty-wise. And then obviously finalize the first base /DH split because they went out, they got Wilson Contreras, but they need to figure out that situation. So Red Sox still have some work to do. Obviously, they lost Alex Bregman, so they need to fill up that lineup. They need like an impact right-handed hitter, infield and specifically. Rotation-wise, they are really good right now. Right now in the bullpen, they just need like a high-leverage left-handed hitter right now currently for them to help them out. Then after that, though, hey, I will say this was a good signing. Ranger Suarez has been he's been a consistent hitter. You'll have him till the age of 35. He did a good job with the Phillies. Let's see how he is in Boston. It'll be a whole different play. Glad he's out of the NL East. That was a headache. I like that for the Red Sox, but there's still some work to do. Hopefully they go out and make some signings. So let's talk about a trade that happened also while the Kyle Tucker discussions was going on. It was the Angels, the Rays, and the Reds made a trade, you guys. Essentially, the Angels are receiving outfielder Josh Lau and giving up Brock and Chris Clark. Tampa Bay is receiving Gavin Lux and Chris Clark and then giving up the outfielder Josh Lau. Cincinnati Reds is getting Brock while giving up infielder Gavin Lux to the Tampa Bay Rays. So why did the Angels do this, you guys? I know many people are probably wondering, like, what the heck happened here? Obviously, with the Angels being desperate for outfield stability since trading Taylor Ward to Baltimore for Grayson, Josh Lau provides a high-ceiling left-handed contact bat with a 2020 home run stolen base track record. With Mike Trout primarily serving as a DH to stay healthy, Lau will slot in everyday right fielder alongside Joe Adell. Why did the Rays do it? Rays did it essentially in classic fashion of they sold high on an outfielder with recent injury history to acquire a versatile infielder that can mold. Gavin Lux provides that immediately middle infield depth for the Rays. Chris Clark is a 24-year-old right-handed pitcher out of Harvard, Rays pitching lab candidate who reached Double-A last year. The Reds, it was just a financial and tactic move, salary dump by moving Lux and potentially pursuing Nick Castellanos, as rumors suggest the Phillies are willing to eat much of his contract to move him. Bullpen depth, Brock, is a reliable southpaw who posted a 3.36 ERA in 69 appearances last year. who joins now Caleb Ferguson and Sam Molt to give the Reds a very strong left-handed presence in the pen. So the winner of this trade, I want to say short term, is the Angels. Obviously, they get Josh Lau, who is a good player, 20, 30 home run stolen base kind of player, who can hit 245 batting average. His speed and defense and right field are a massive upgrade. The risk is that he is very, injury prone. He's been in the IL for oblique and hamstring injuries. Winner long term, I'd say, is the Rays. Obviously, they get Gavin Lux and Chris Clark, who is a young, rookie prospect who looks like has a high potential. Financial winner, obviously, is the Reds. The Reds, they wanted to dump some money because they wanted to get, they want to go out and get Nick Castellanos. So Reds are still wanting to be competitive. Angels, I give them respect. They still want to be making moves. They still want to be up there, even though they don't win that much, but they want to make moves that can connect the dots little by little and help them win. With the Rays, they're just, doing their thing of just cheapening out and going out and getting a younger player, essentially. Good job, guess, from both teams. It is what it is. Now let's move on to a different sport, ladies and gentlemen. This was something that probably caught people off guard, but it happened. Mike Tomlin has stepped down as the head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you guys. He had informed the organization that he is stepping down as a head coach after 19 seasons, you guys. The news came less than 24 hours after the Steelers were eliminated by the Texans 30-6. Details of his departure, the record, Tomlin leaves with a regular season record of 193 with 193 wins and 142 losses. Most impressive, he never had a losing season in nearly 2 decades, you guys. The decision, Tomlin had 2 years left on his contract expansion. Reports indicate that he felt there wasn't much left to chase in his current role. Team president stated he's willing to keep Tomlin for 2026, but respected his choice to step away. What's next for Tomlin? So insiders report that does not plan to coach in 2026, expected to be the biggest free agent in sports broadcasting with every major. So essentially, it looks like he's not wanting to be a coach right now. He looks like he wants to get into the sports broadcasting world. Listen, Mike Tomlin, great coach, you guys. As I just said, his record, how he was with the Steelers. The thing was, it was just the Steelers after Big Ben just never had a quarterback. Never had a quarterback who could get them over the hump. Think about it. They had Justin Fields. They had Russell Wilson. Now they had Aaron Rodgers. Those 3 players can get them over the hump. And I think just the environment wasn't good. We saw the situations that would happen with George Pickens. And listen, there's many coaches out there. So he was like, probably, hey, let me just step down. I want to move on. I don't think there is many things I could do here. I'm going to go somewhere else and do something else. And that's essentially what he's doing. He wanted to go and, he has a different vision in mind, and that's respectable. Now, what do the Steelers do? There's a lot of former head coaches. You got Mike McDaniel. You got Kevin Stefanski now. You also got Mike McCarthy, Robert Saleh, who's looking to be a head coach again, even though I think he should stay as a defensive coordinator. But I would like to see Mike McCarthy, with the Steelers. I think he'd be a good fit. I think Mike McCarthy isn't talked about, but if you really look at his side by side with like a John Harbaugh, it's very close, you guys. Very close. The resume or the stats, literally. Maybe a Mark McCarthy, make me a Mike McDaniel. I would like to see that pair up. And here's the thing, though. Here's the biggest situations that are going on with the Steelers. Right now, the biggest question is, what is Aaron Rodgers going to do? What is Aaron Rodgers going to do is the question. That's going to be an issue because it's like he's 42 years old. If he retires, the Steelers are going to be in a tough spot because they have the 21st pick in the draft. They may have to trade up for a prospect like Ty Simpson or pivot to an upside bridge like Malik Willis. So it's like you got to see what you got to see what happens with him. You also got to get support for DK Metcalf. You got to get him somebody who can be in a legit, wide receiver number 2. Manage the cap cushion. You got currently 65 in cap space, 8th most in the NFL currently. So you got to be smart a little bit. Some things you need to do is you need to solidify that offensive line. You need to go out and get a left guard to replace Isaac and decide whether you're going to extend stars like Nick, who's entering in a contract year. That's some things that I would say they need to work on. Maybe they go out, draft a prospect like a Denzel Boston. He's 6'4" prospect who can be that number 2, essentially. Maybe you go and trade for Jalen McMillan from the Buccaneers, who are reportedly need to keep free up cap space to keep Mike Evans. Or maybe the verdict. Maybe you go out and sign Deebo Samuel to a short-term deal, if you want to. But you got to figure out those situations, because you guys were in the playoffs, didn't look well at all, and you got to figure out what's going to go on with Mr. Aaron Rodgers. That's obviously going to be the ultimate question because he looked horrible. He looked horrible, and he just looked like he wasn't ready to continue on anymore. You guys, it just was not pretty. All right, to wrap it up here, Giants, you guys get a good head coach and John Harbaugh. You guys, they essentially got him for 5 years, $100 million, $20 million per year. Great signing, as you guys already know. I believe he's bringing his Baltimore staff to New York, so like his offensive coordinator and defense direction. I love to see that. Love to see that they went out and got John Harbaugh. He's a good coach, somebody that's going to change up that locker room, change the leadership, and change the culture of the team. Somebody who's going to help balance out, the professionalism and the nonsense that was going on. Why the Giants? Obviously, we know he was dismissed by the Ravens following a disappointing season. He was obviously their number 1 target after they fired Brian Daboll in November. Obviously, the Jackson Dart factor, he's going to help that rookie or Jackson be up there, learning little by little to get better. The roster foundation with, Andrew Thomas, Brian Burns, and Malik Neighbors, that's going to be a good look. Now, what are some things that the Giants would do? They need to prioritize the run game. The veteran Raven influence could be heavy offensive style, and then Jackson Dart's input. So I would say they got to go out, get an what was this? They got to go out, got to go get a couple weapons, focus on the depth, get a little bit better, just to help out that team a little bit. And hey, I think you could get them over the hump. Glad they made this signing. John Harbaugh is a good coach, did well with the Ravens. Thank you guys all for watching. I know it sounds short. I don't know what's going on with my nostrils, but it's crazy. But I appreciate everybody for watching. Like I say every single time, stay humble, stay blessed, stay positive, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye-bye.